So I'm going to give you a specific example of how standards-based practices have impacted my instruction. As an English teacher, I was set to the task of needing to provide narrative learning for my students. So we have several narrative standards, both in reading and writing. And so how I decided to tackle that once I really dove into the standards-based world is through a differentiated model and a block model. I actually come from a 50-minute period, so I don't have block scheduling. That really wasn't working for what I needed to do. So I ended up blocking out my schedule. So my Monday, Tuesday days were my reading days. My Thursday, Friday days were my writing days. And my Wednesday day was a flex day. And I also always committed to having some free read time on Wednesdays to be able to support free reading and independent reading in my classroom. So with the narrative story, what I would traditionally do is a very linear approach, where you read the short story, you have several set of worksheets that you complete for a grade. Each of those is an independent grade, and you're grading the task, not the skill. It's just really more completion than anything else. And then you have a quiz at the end to assess if they actually know what they're talking about or not. If they bomb the quiz, oh well, you move on and you go to the next short story. It really doesn't make sense to teach that way because you're missing so many kids when you're trying to actually have them meet the skills. So what I did is I reframed it, where on Monday, Tuesday, we would actually almost use our short story as a mentor text for our Thursday, Friday writing sessions. And we would have our students dive into a short story through a discussion type model, and then I would have students do activities, and every one of those activities had a rubric assigned to it that would actually assess the standards I was assessing. So let's say I was looking at plot in the short story or reading, we would really get into what plot was, and I had some definitions for students about mastery level of learning was for plot, and students would have multiple opportunities to show me that they understood plot. And that would be all of our reading days. So all of them would be focused in on that. And then on Thursday, Fridays, we shifted gears and they actually wrote their own short story to meet the narrative standards. And so part of the narrative standards is they take a look at the development of a story and the plot that goes into the development of the story. And so we actually used what we learned on our reading days to apply it directly to our writing days. So everything connected. It wasn't disjointed. And that really starts with setting a clear purpose and direction for your students, thinking with the end goal in mind of what standards you want to meet, and knowing that you're going to teach explicitly each of those standards. If you're not going to hit on the standard in your instruction and in your discussion and your lesson planning, then you can assess it and it can't end up in the grade book. And that really impacted my learning or my teaching when it came to just understanding differentiation at a different level than I ever had before.